An old disused building on a Scarborough beach could get a new lease of life. The sunbathing chalets near the spa have fallen into disrepair in the 25 or so years they haven't been used. But Crescent Arts are looking for funding to convert them into studios and art space. Stuart Cameron is its director and describes the building for us.
The building's about 100 years old and it was purpose-built as a sunbathing pavilion. So what you see is a tower which has a stairwell up to a roof, which is the flat roof which was used for sunbathing, and inside there are 14 little cubicles where it was segregated, so there were male and female changing rooms. It goes back about 100 years, and it's known locally as Children's Corner because I think it was also a pick-up point where lost children could be reunited with their parents. And round about 18 months ago, Scarborough Borough Council suggested that we might want to look at it and think about it as a kind of future home for Crescent Arts. So we are.
What's the idea for the building then? What do you hope to do with it?
Well, we're looking to turn it into a kind of creative arts and educational kind of resource, really, on the beach. So the kind of context of it is quite important. And certainly some of the activities that we propose would relate to the immediate kind of environment, the beach, the Victorian gardens and so on. But basically it also extends what Crescent Arts does. We work with contemporary visual artists and help them to develop their work and their careers. So that also is a part of what we're proposing to do here. So essentially we'll be setting up things like studios, exhibition space, workshop spaces. We have printmaking and ceramics at the moment, so we'll be bringing all of that down here as well. But it offers us a much more kind of public-facing building and space, because I think, as everyone who knows this building recognises it's very visible and it's got probably the best view in Scarborough actually. So it's got huge advantages for us, I think, actually. Also its location just on South Bay, right next to the spa, is important, and we've worked with the spa before. We did a big event called Art Party Conference in 2013 there, so we'd be looking to kind of work a little bit more with them in the future.
So what needs to happen then for this building to become usable for you?
At the very least, it needs restoring so that it's habitable. Amazingly, it is structurally sound, and so that's a good starting point, because if it wasn't, we might think twice about it. So the very least that we're trying to do is make it habitable again. It hasn't got an enormous interior space, so we are looking to see how we could extend it either upwards on the roof, or we're also looking at the toilet block next door at the moment, and we could extend that way as well, but keeping kind of public convenience provision at the same time, I think. So expanding the space, developing the building is quite important as well, but trying to keep the kind of character of the existing building, I think, which is important, because it hasn't got great architectural merit, but it's quite iconic, I think. So we want to kind of work in a way which is sympathetic to what's here already, and also obviously to the local environment too.
The million-dollar question with projects like this is always, where's the money coming from?
Well, and that's a very good question. That's the task I've got really at the moment. So we're looking at different sources. One very obvious source for us to look at is Heritage Lottery. So I'm starting to look at that. We're also funded by Arts Council England, who also fund capital development projects. So we've spoken to them quite a lot about this already, so we'll be pursuing that. We do have a small grant from Architectural Heritage Fund to work on the feasibility study, so that far we've got. And it's going to be a kind of bit of a jigsaw of funding, I think, probably in the end. There are other sources like Coastal Revival funding and so on. So we'll be exploring all options, really. And, if there are any kind of generous private sponsors out there, we're very happy to talk to you.
And what's the timescale? I mean, realistically, how quickly do you think you're going to be able to pull all this together?
Well, we've just this summer we had the result of our kind of most recent application to Arts Council for our core funding, which takes us through to 2022. So we've got a 4 to 5 year period of guaranteed funding for the organisation, and that's the timescale at the longest that we're looking at. I think come the spring, when we've moved on with the feasibility study, we'll know then whether it's going to be a really serious option or not, because the purpose of a feasibility study is to test that out, and if for some reason it's not going to work, then we'd have to accept that. So, but I think we're looking at kind of 3 to 4 years probably as a kind of timescale on developing it.